And I'm told that very recently, I'm trying to track this down, but that he made a statement that we would go in on the ground in Venezuela to quote unquote attack drug cartels. Not sure I entirely understand what that means, but that seems a rather strange thing to mention in the midst of everything else.
Wow. I don't think Congress has declared war on Venezuela, but maybe that wouldn't stop him. I mean, he's already been blowing these boats out of the water. And you talk about visuals. He has ordered the Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, to reveal video footage of the boats being obliterated. Senator Tim Kaine, I don't agree with Senator Kaine on much, but he's hot on this. He's on the Senate Intelligence Committee, so I assume he knows what he's talking about. This is from 3 days ago. Chris, cut number 14.
I think there's a significant likelihood that in one of these first 4 strikes already that it was a mistake. The Coast Guard stats show 1 in 4 ships that the Coast Guard interdicts for suspicion of drug activity has no drugs on it. Oh, so there's already a 1 in 4 chance that you're going to stop somebody. It's going to turn out that they don't have drugs. So due process, laws of war, not letting this president or any president be able to put our troops in harm's way to wage war without having that debate and vote by Congress. Donald Trump is saying, I've created my own secret list of groups that I'm going to target in the Caribbean. Can we see the list? No. So a secret list that he's created, neither Congress nor the American public is seeing it, and he's taking strikes on now 4, and he's threatening more.
To me, the thought of a land invasion of another country, no matter the goal, without authorization from the Congress is a constitutional anathema.
Oh, listen, I agree 100%. The problem is that when did we debate the wisdom of going into Iraq in 2003?
Right.
We did have, I don't know if we call it a debate as much as a series of discussions and hearings before 1991. But nevertheless, we just haven't had much in the way of debates on anything, Judge, as you know. That's a hugely frustrating aspect of the whole thing. I mean, why bother having a Congress if you're not going to debate any of these issues? But there's something else that Americans need to understand, and no one is talking about it. Venezuela is, I don't want to say it's brittle, but it's fragile. And whether you like Maduro or not, he's held the country together. Inevitably, we seem to be interested in removing him and replacing him with this new Nobel Prize winner. Why she got the prize is a mystery to me, but nevertheless, she got it. And now they're talking about putting her in. The problem is, I don't think she can hold the country together. There's another aspect of this. Supposedly, there were offers made in other channels back and forth from Venezuela to Washington that essentially would have given us access to their oil and gas reserves. It could have brought us in to do a lot of drilling, which they desperately need. Could have met our requirements, and apparently we categorically refused all those overtures. And then finally, we underestimate the extent to which this entire Latin American continent, along with Central America, could blow up in our faces. I don't understand why no one is aware that marching into a place like Venezuela, even if you say you're going to do or conduct surgical operations, I imagine that's the next thing they'll talk about, could infuriate millions of people all over Central America as it is. We're already listening to people in the drug cartels down in Mexico threatening to kill Americans wherever they find them. There is a great deal of latent hate, animosity, and antipathy for us. This is not going to help our case down there. In other words, I just don't see any benefit to it. Right. There isn't even a debate there. And I, like you, I'm not a Kaine fan, but he's effectively correct.
He's on another campaign, which is to, and on this I fully agree with him, rescind the authorizations for use of military force from the George W. Bush era.
Oh, absolutely.
Because presidents, Barack Obama did this, Donald Trump did this, will rely on the open-ended language in these. Here he is, again, in the same interview, but now talking about these AUMFs. Number 14, Chris.
The Iraq War was declared by Congress in 2002, but Congress often declares a war and then just leaves the authorization on the books. And then a future president, like, I want to do something in the Middle East. Oh, you know what? Here's this authorization out there. I can say it's justified by that and that Congress authorized it. And as far as I know, it's going to be the first time in the history of the United States that Congress actually repealed a war authorization that we passed, which means that a president can't then go grab it and use it for a mischievous purpose.
Well, the authorization for the use of military force not only confers essentially limitless freedom of maneuver on the White House to attack when and where they care to and attack whomever they don't like. It's worse than that. It legitimates huge numbers of additional flag officer billets. In other words, more admirals and more generals and more headquarters. And this is something, of course, that the Department of Defense, now the Department of War, loves. And that was written into the original authorization for the use of military force. There are other provisions in there that allow for expenditures. The bottom line is that the authorization for the use of military force should go away. Absolutely. As soon as possible. But whenever anybody brought that up, whether